Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1309B, and today's date is June 18th, 2017, and the title of the episode is, Are These the Only Options the Elite Have Left? If so, it won't end well. Now, before I get started, I just want to make two announcements. The first announcement, those fathers who are celebrating Father's Day, happy Father's Day to you. The second announcement is that I uploaded an interview with Ole Demigard. He does a lot of research into false flags. We talk about how false flags are originated, how these special units, how they fly around the world, and they use these units to create these events, and he breaks it all down. So if you want to listen to him, go over to the YouTube channel X22 Report Spotlight, or you can come over to the X22Report.com site, scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side, you'll see the video there, you can play it right on the site, or you can go to newssentinel.com, same thing, scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side, you can play the video there. For those people that are on Steemit, all you need to do is go over to steemit.com/@X22Report. It will bring you right to the interview, and you can watch it on Steemit. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, we know the deep state, they've been trying to provoke Russia any way they possibly can, and it looks like Representative Joe Kennedy introduced a bill to fight back against Russian meddling that will establish a National Russian Threat Response Center. Now, this bill is designed to amend the National Security Act of 1947, which would be dedicated to Russian and under the auspices of the DNI. It will commingle officers from the State Department, HLS, Treasury, the CIA, and the Pentagon. Now, the center, it will be responsible for synchronizing and analyzing information pertaining to Russia from across the intelligence community, diplomatic channels, and law enforcement agency. And using its broad view across the U.S. government, the center will develop policy recommendations and identify gaps in the current collection and collation of intelligence pertaining to Russia. Now, this bill is being brought up because they want a way to stop what happened with the 2016 election, where they're saying that Russia came in and they hacked the election system and they made Donald Trump win. Now, we can see right now, shouldn't we have proof first? Shouldn't we have the evidence to show that this is exactly what happened before we start creating these bills, before we start creating these centers? But it looks like they don't care about evidence. They only care about pushing the propaganda. And right now, we have not seen any evidence of anything Russian collusion, Russian hacking. Anything that they've been talking about has all been propaganda. If they had the evidence, and the intelligence agencies had the evidence, and I know they keep saying it's classified, you can't see it, but we're telling you it's true, so you have to believe us. If they truly had the evidence, they would prove it to the American people. They would show it. And guess what? They can't. That's why they hide behind everything about it's classified, we can't show you, you just have to believe us. Well, you know what? We're done believing in what you say. We need proof, and they can't do it. We see the U.S. Congress is trying to find out whether a former operative of the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency was engaged in the Montenegro failed coup attempt that took place on October 16, 2016. And we can see that right now we know that the CIA, the intelligence organizations, they go into each one of these countries and they have regime change. Now, right before this happened, where they were saying that Russia plotted the coup attempt and they were blaming it all on Russia, very interestingly, former CIA officer Joseph Assad visited Montenegro a few days prior to the failed coup attempt. And of course, right away, they blamed it on Russia. Now, if it was successful, they would say it was a natural uprising, people didn't want the leader, and this is why we had regime change. But since it failed, they had to switch it around. But what's very interesting is that this CIA officer was there a few days before everything happened. And of course, as we know, the CIA, the other intelligence agencies, they are always involved, and I'm saying MI6, Mossad, and many other intelligence agencies, they're always working together, grouped together, working to have regime change in many of these countries. We see out in Iraq, the Iraqi government forces have regained control of the Al-Walid checkpoint on the border with Syria. And this checkpoint is located near the Syrian border, crossing the Al-Tanf, which serves as a base for U.S.-backed opposition militants. This is where they bring in everything right near Jordan also. And they call it the Syrian, Iraqi, Jordanian Triangle. And we can see right now the deep state, they're trying to maintain control there. Iraq, Syria, Russia, basically they're trying to take control of their border. Now, what's very interesting, Iraq wants to take control of the border. Syria wants to take control of their border, but the deep state is there trying to maintain control of those two countries' borders. The question is, why is the United States, the deep state, even there? I mean, if these two countries are trying to control their border and take it away from the United States, why is the United States fighting them? Because their objective is not to get the Islamic State. Their objective is not to have peace in the region. Their objective is to get Syria, is to get Assad, and they have not stopped. We see the Russian Defense Ministry, they're saying they have eliminated 180 terrorists. They've stopped the attacks in Deir ez-Zor, and warplanes, well, they've been hitting a lot of the terrorists, pushing them back, and we see right now they're going after the last remaining oil convoys, and they're hunting them down, they are destroying them, and we can see that it's only a matter of time before the entire terrorist group, the Islamic State, completely falls in Iraq and Syria. And the whole thing is completely falling apart, and this is why the deep state, the elite, this is why they only have a few options left. Think about what they have left here. One, create this incredible event that masks everything and brings us into a war, or assassinate Trump and put in a puppet leader, have a coup in the United States and put in a different leader. That's what they're trying to do right now. So they only have a few options left. And if they try to push these options, it doesn't end well for the people. Yes, it works out great for them, but we have to see, because we have two sides fighting each other right now. They're battling it out right now, and they're trying to gain hold of the entire system. Now, as the Islamic State is continually being destroyed by Russia, Syria, and Iran, we see that the Islamic State, they are assassinating key individuals within the organization. And we have to remember, these are paid mercenaries. This wasn't a natural uprising. These are paid mercenaries, terrorists that the United States, Israel, UK, and the coalition forces created. They fund them, they support them, and now we can see in certain areas where things are really falling apart, they're getting rid of certain individuals that might squeal. It's basically a mop-up operation right now. We see the BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they're going to be discussing efforts to resolve international conflicts in the Middle East. And they're meeting in Beijing on June 19th, and we'll have to see what comes out of that. But what's very interesting is that Europol is warning about the Islamic State, saying that they are ready to carry out attacks in the West. They have no shortage of volunteers, and basically this is a scare tactic, and what they're trying to do, and this might lead into the main event. Now, if you listen to Ole Demigard, which I did the Spotlight interview with, he breaks it down on how these false flags are carried out. He looks at very specific things. He's been researching it for a very long time, and you can see how most of these false flags are hoaxes, and you can see how they are carried out. And he really breaks it down and shows you how it is done. And he was even able to predict some of them from past events. But we can see right now that this is a scare tactic, and this is their last-ditch effort, because their last-ditch effort is not going to be a small event of a little gun shooting or a small event of a bomb going off or a flash bang type of thing to make it look like a bomb. Their last attempt is going to be huge, almost like the World Trade Center type of an attempt, and they're going to have to do this in multiple locations, and this will be the biggest event that they've ever pulled off. And remember, this is not coming from the Islamic State. This is coming from the inside workings of different governments and different organizations, different intelligence agencies, all coordinating with each other to create these things. And this is what we need to be worried about. And it's a race against time right now, because we can see that things are rapidly falling apart all at once. We see the economy, the corporate media is already signaling that, yes, the economy is coming down. And they know this. They also realize that Trump now is getting the upper hand on the situation around the globe. It might not seem it in some instances, and in other instances, it does look like that he's calming the situation down in North Korea. He's trying to gain hold of what is going on in the Middle East. He's hands off on Libya. There's a new strategy being formulated with Afghanistan, and they already put out the announcement that, hey, we have no authorization to attack Syrian forces, Iranian forces, or Russian forces, and that came from Tillerson. So we see right now there's a huge battle going on right now, and things are going to really get hectic as we move forward. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.